The Nuremberg trials brought the horrors of Nazi medical experiments to light, leading to the Nuremberg Code, a landmark set of ethical principles for human experimentation. But just a decade later, the world witnessed another medical catastrophe, one that would once again force a reckoning with the ethics of medicine and the pharmaceutical industry. This is the story of thalidomide, a tragedy that unfolded not in the camps of war, but in the medicine cabinets of ordinary homes. In the late 1950s, a German pharmaceutical company called Chemie Grünenthal developed a new drug. It was marketed as a wonderfully safe, non-addictive sedative. Pregnant women, in particular, were prescribed thalidomide to combat morning sickness. It was hailed as a miracle cure, available over-the-counter in some countries, and seemed to have no side effects. The company aggressively marketed it across 46 countries, and sales soared. It was the perfect pill for a post-war world craving peace and quiet. But beneath this veneer of safety, a nightmare was brewing. Around the same time, doctors in West Germany began noticing a disturbing trend. There was a sudden, inexplicable spike in babies born with severe birth defects. Many had phacomelia, a rare condition where limbs are drastically shortened or absent, resembling flippers. Others were born with malformed eyes, ears, hearts, and internal organs. The cause was a complete mystery. Doctors were baffled. Was it a new virus? Radiation from atomic testing? No one knew. The number of cases kept climbing, creating a wave of panic and confusion among parents and the medical community. One of the first to connect the dots was a German pediatrician named Wittekund Lenz. In 1961, he presented his findings, suggesting a link between the mothers who took thalidomide and the birth defects in their children. Almost simultaneously, an Australian doctor, William McBride, reached the same conclusion. He had noticed the pattern in his own patients at a Sydney hospital. When they raised the alarm, Chemie Grünenthal initially denied everything. They fought back, defending their product and trying to discredit the doctors. The company insisted their drug was safe, pointing to their own internal animal tests that had shown no issues. The problem was, those early tests were tragically inadequate. They hadn't been conducted on pregnant animals. It turns out thalidomide was what's known as a teratogen, an agent that can cause malformations in an embryo or fetus. Even a single pill taken during a critical window of early pregnancy, often before a woman even knew she was pregnant, could cause irreversible damage. The timing was everything. Depending on when the drug was taken between the 20th and 36th day after conception, it could affect the development of different parts of the body. As evidence mounted, the truth became undeniable. The drug was finally pulled from the German market in late 1961, and other countries quickly followed suit. But by then, the damage was done. It's estimated that over 10,000 babies worldwide were born with thalidomide-related defects. Thousands more pregnancies ended in miscarriage. These children became known as thalidomide babies. They faced a lifetime of physical challenges, countless surgeries, and social stigma. Their families were left to navigate a world that wasn't designed for them, fighting for support, recognition, and justice. One country, however, largely escaped the disaster: the United States. And it was thanks to one woman, Dr. Frances Oldham Kelsey at the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. When the American distributor applied for a license to sell thalidomide, Dr. Kelsey was the reviewer assigned to the case. Despite immense pressure from the pharmaceutical company, she was not satisfied with the safety data they provided. She found it incomplete and anecdotal. She repeatedly requested more evidence, particularly regarding the drug's effects on the nervous system and during pregnancy. Her persistence in scientific rigor caused delay after delay. While the company fumed, her skepticism saved countless American families from heartbreak. For her diligence, she was later awarded the President's Award for Distinguished Federal Civilian Service by John F. Kennedy. The thalidomide tragedy became a global wake-up call. It exposed gaping holes in drug testing and regulation. In the aftermath, countries around the world radically overhauled their laws. The United States passed the Kefauver-Harris Amendment in 1962, which for the first time required drug manufacturers to prove to the FDA that their products were not just safe, but also effective for their intended use. It mandated stricter control over clinical trials, and required that adverse drug reactions be reported to the FDA. Similar reforms were enacted across Europe and beyond, establishing the rigorous, multi-phase clinical trial system we rely on today. The legal battles for the victims and their families were long and arduous. In Germany, a criminal trial against the executives of Chemie-Grünenthal ended in a settlement, with the company creating a fund for the victims. In other countries like the UK and Australia, families fought for decades to get compensation and an apology. Many felt the settlements were inadequate for a lifetime of care. The company Chemie-Grünenthal didn't issue a formal apology until 2012, over 50 years after the drug was withdrawn. For many survivors, it was too little, too late. But the story of thalidomide doesn't end there. In a surprising twist, science has found new uses for this notorious drug. Researchers discovered that the same properties that made it so dangerous for developing fetuses could also be used to fight certain diseases. Today, under extremely strict controls, thalidomide is used to treat conditions like multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer, and complications from leprosy. Its use is heavily regulated, especially for women of childbearing age, with mandatory pregnancy tests and patient registries to prevent a repeat of the past. The thalidomide tragedy stands as a stark reminder of what can happen when corporate profit is prioritized over patient safety. It underscores the absolute necessity of rigorous scientific testing, independent regulatory oversight, and the courage of individuals like Dr. Kelsey who are willing to ask tough questions and demand answers. The legacy of the thalidomide survivors is not just in their personal resilience, but in the fundamental changes they inspired in how we develop and approve medicines for everyone. Their story, born from a disaster, has made the world of medicine safer for all future generations. Thanks for watching. If you found this story important, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history and science. Stay curious. Stay curious.